Welcome to M3 Live. I'm your host, Joe Beck, the CEO of M3Linked, and I am super excited to be with you all today. Today, we have a very special guest in the studio with us today. I'm not going to steal any of his thunder, but I am going to introduce him. He's on a mission to help the real heroes of the U.S. economy, small business owners. Small business brands are often drowned out online by massive corporate ad budgets until now, because he can give you an unfair advantage over your competition, no matter how much they spend on marketing. And that's just the first advantage that he brings to the table. There are many. Please welcome to M3 Live, the founder of Slay the Competition Online, Trevor Eisenman. Hey, Trevor, how are you?
Hey, Joe. Thank you for having me. I'm doing great.
Good. My pleasure. My pleasure. So I was really looking forward to this conversation, Trevor, because I've had the great opportunity to see behind the curtain a little bit on what it is that you do. But why don't you just give us a quick overview of your company, Slay the Competition Online? Tell us what you do, and then I'll ask you a couple of questions to share more information with our audience.
Yeah, absolutely. When I started the company, the goal was to help your small to medium-sized business compete with the much larger budgets that giant corporations have. That it's kind of hard to compete with when the entire first couple of pages, not just the first page, but maybe even 5 pages, is just all the big companies. The big guys are squeezing out the little guy because they have the budget to do it. I mean, the system's kind of rigged that way, right? The more money you can spend, the more you can push everyone else out, and that includes organic traffic. I mean, that quite often you'll see in search results that the bigger companies not only have ads, but they also are taking up a lot of the organic search space. So
Yeah.
that was the initial goal with Slay the Competition, was from a advertising or marketing perspective, give the little guy a level playing field. So
Okay.
that's sort of the one goal I started with, level that playing field. So we have a very unusual campaign that allows you to do just that. Now, it's a little hard to explain in 2 seconds, but it basically eliminates your competition online without using your traditional search engine optimization, without using pay-per-click ads. And it's kind of like having the mafia take out your competition online, but without the mafia, right? Like, nobody wants to have any broken legs, right? So, and in a way, it's like having, it's about as close as you're going to get to being an online celebrity and starts their online search. You
Mhm.
want to be. So that specific campaign that we started with allows you to do that. It's close as you're going to get to being Taylor Swift or Kim Kardashian, but without the plastic surgery or the drama.
Yep.
Yep.
So that is great. Now, tell me, when you say when it counts, give me a sense of when that is, just so our audience understands exactly when that point is.
Sure. So, when you're driving on the freeway and you go past one of those, like, have you been hurt in an ad? Call Morgan and Morgan, or whatever. You see the billboard. You were not necessarily searching for that at that moment, right? You
Hmm.
see it repeatedly, whatever. But when you're like, okay, I've just had an accident. What do I do? And you go online to search for something. That's when you want to show up. That's when you need a billboard. And that's essentially what our campaign is. The little mini billboard at the exact moment someone starts their search, that actually happens before they get to the search results page.
Wow,
And then once
that's
you're there,
powerful.
it's just you. Like, there's no one else on the page and the organic search results. You're the only one. So you really have to see it to believe it. It's hard to explain because people think they know what I'm talking about, but if they've never seen it, you have to see it. So that's kind of the first step in understanding how this works. It's very unusual. It's not like trickery or anything black hat or gray hat. All the rules are being followed because we don't want to get clients in trouble, but you really do have to see it to believe it. We've actually expanded operations beyond just a marketing campaign because I realized after doing this for a few years, helping clients be the only option in search results for particular keywords, that it could still not work. So we've actually expanded what we're able to do to make sure that all of your marketing and advertising efforts are not done in vain, because 99% of companies have a single point of failure. And so now we've comprehensively covered that with our new services. So it's extremely unlikely that you wouldn't advance your campaign efforts almost immediately. I mean, and part of that is actually finding up to 6 figures of hidden revenue in your company without adding advertising and marketing dollars to your budget. So this is done in a very comprehensive but doable way, so you're not just overwhelmed as a small business owner. So you can literally like become more effective than the big guys who also make the same mistakes. They just have more money to throw at it, and increase your effectiveness, tenfold.
Wow. So that obviously is powerful. Now, we talk about you helping small businesses, but it's not just small businesses. Larger companies use these tools as well. What are a few of the bigger companies that your organization has worked with?
We've done, for the marketing campaigns I mentioned, we've done campaigns for Walmart, Best Buy, Ace Hardware, a number of personal injury attorneys. The campaign's been very popular with them. There's a lot of competition in the legal field in that regard. So that's been pretty popular. A lot of home service businesses have utilized these campaigns, plumbers and trash removal and things like that. So kind of the common everyday things. But we also have individual coaches or consultants, accountants, like pretty much anyone that you would look for online could probably utilize these services pretty well. The campaigns actually work on Google, Bing, and YouTube. So for the B2B market, Bing is actually quite profitable. Like, the number of people that are using Bing is much higher than a lot of people would suppose. Like, nearly half of the US uses Bing on a daily basis, or on a regular basis at least. And no one thought about that before, but Alexa uses Bing, Yahoo uses Bing, AOL uses Bing. 98+% of companies in the US are using the Microsoft system, so they've got that already preloaded. The Bing and Internet Explorer or Edge is just preloaded. So a lot of companies are using that during the day because that's what they got. Yeah. So there's some hidden advantages in there too that I like to tell people about. Give them another edge.
Sure. Well, look, in business, especially if you're an entrepreneur, you need every advantage that you can get. So
you do.
So if I'm to summarize kind of what you do, and obviously without getting into all the tech behind, it's a lot like, identifying somebody who is hungry for something right now. And instead of putting out advertising or marketing, hoping one day they will be hungry, it's putting it out the split second that they are hungry and putting it in front of them. Is that a
right? Yeah, that's a pretty fair statement. Yeah, I mean,
okay.
For a specific keyword, so it's not they can't just think about a topic and it shows up.
Sure,
they got to put in a keyword.
No, it has to be obviously identified. But
now
all of a
for
sudden,
those
I'm hungry
keywords,
thinking
we'll
about
get
that.
We'll get that company's name in front of their target market for those keywords.
That's great. And that is such an impactful way for a small to a medium-sized business to be able to keep pace with larger competitors that have, let's just say, a much more robust marketing budget, right? To be able to put their stuff in front of people and to be efficient, the efficiency. Now, you said something really quick, and then I want to pivot and ask you a little question about your experience at M3, but you said something real quick about closing the gap on something that might not be working efficiently for a business. So not only do you help identify amazing opportunities, but you help ensure that the businesses, are set up correctly to get the most out of it. which I
Yeah.
think is a big key.
Yeah, so let me explain that a little bit more. So I think everyone's familiar with the idea, like you get visitors to your website and they need to convert, right? They need to turn into something or landing page or whatever it is, right? So a lot of people are focused on that conversion rate because it's the
Hmm.
beginning of the whole whatever it is that they're doing, right? But there are a number of other conversion points and areas of interest where you want to either, it's either a matter of increasing it or decreasing it, like in the terms of costs, right?
Hmm.
So the overall performance and profit of the business is going to be affected by all these conversion points. So being hyper focused on just the beginning is could still potentially result in not enough profit, right?
Got it.
At the end of the day, most of us in the entrepreneurial world and even for a job, we're working so that we can have more time, freedom, and financial freedom to give us the space to be with our families, right? I mean,
Hmm.
there's families, friends. There isn't really much more to life than those two things, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not just about money and having stuff. So you want to be able to have stuff, but spend time with the people that matter to have fun with that stuff, if nothing else.
Yep.
And of course, protect our families and our children and move everybody forward to a better survival.
Yeah.
Um,
Very well
so
said.
that's yeah, you gotta. So we have a comprehensive way of addressing every single conversion point. There's 7 areas that you need to know about, and you need to know how to work those areas to improve your profit. So that's
Wow.
that's part of what we do.
That's great. Great. Strong stuff, my friend, no doubt. Now, you and I met through M3 Linked, and I always like to ask people, tell me about your M3 Linked experience. Tell me your perspective on it. When people say M3 Linked, what do you share with them?
Well, I usually share a little bit of my journey to find a networking group that I felt comfortable being a part of, that I felt I could recommend. So I went to 3 or 4 other meetings, local, mostly virtual. It was during the pandemic, so a lot of people weren't really getting together, as you know.
Hmm.
So I was kind of systematic about it. It was sort of my nature. So I went to these groups, and afterwards I wrote down what I didn't like about them, and then I converted that into what I would like to see in a group. Um, so after about 3 or 4 meetings, I was like, okay, so I I want something that is referral centric. Like, people are giving referrals, but they're not forced to give referrals. It's not like I'm
Hmm.
being beaten if I don't give a referral. You're like, you didn't give us. There's no referrals. You're supposed to have a referral every week. Like, referrals is not really something. It's organic. Like, you can't force it,
Hmm.
right? Also, I didn't want to feel like I had to give referrals to people that I didn't like or I wasn't comfortable with them, right?
Hmm.
Um, I wanted to feel like people were friendly and friends before they were just business partners. Like, no one wants a hit and run conversation,
Yeah.
right? So networking can be like that. Like, you get in there, you give your pitch, and you're like, okay, I didn't get 10 referrals. This networking group sucks. But that's not really how it works. So I went in with the mindset of, I'm going to spend 6 months in this networking group, do what I can to give referrals and be a member and participate. And I think I'll reap the rewards after that. And this is exactly what happened, right?
Hmm.
It was a very comfortable environment when I got into M3. It was friendly. I didn't feel any stress from the other people. There was no demands on me. I could show up when I was able to. And it quickly became, I wanted to be there every week, if nothing else, but to just catch up with the people that were in the group,
Yeah.
right? Like, hey, how's it going? How was that event you were going to do? Or, whatever. We're like, did you survive the hurricane? Like, to
Yeah.
just sort of catch up with friends. So I like that. I prefer that much more than just like, here's my name, here's my business, I'm looking for this, goodbye. And
Yeah. So it's
you know,
relational instead of transactional.
yeah. And I did get some customers or clients from the actual members of the group, but I think what was more powerful was the people in the group were referring me to other people, and just as powerful was when I do my elevator pitch, as everybody does in the middle of, the formal presentation part, other people that I had networked with in the group were supporting me. They were like, "Oh yeah, you should definitely check this out. This is amazing. I saw it.
Mhm.
You should, don't waste any time to find out more about it," or things like that. And I just didn't really have that anywhere else. Like,
Yeah.
ever, it's a lot of the times, um, what's that saying? That's enough about me. Let's talk about you. What do you think about me? Sort of thought process. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I just like the focus, the friendliness. I got a lot of referrals out of it. Most of my clients in the past 2 years have come from M3 in one form or another.
Wow. That's great.
It is organic, and I think you might have to give it a little bit of time, but I think that's true in any networking group.
Yep. Well, the more you put into it, the better the return. So I really appreciate the chance for you and I to talk today. And, I just want to say, if you've not yet checked out Trevor and his company, Slay the Competition Online, I highly recommend it that you do, because he has some game-changing offerings for any entrepreneur and business owner. I want to thank you for being here today, Trevor. It's been great having you with us. And, make sure that each week, for our audience, follow M3Live. We're going to have amazing entrepreneurs here every single week, getting a quick opportunity to learn about them, learn more about their experience at M3. This is Joe Beck, M3Linked, M3Live. You want to check us out here every Monday. If you'd like to learn more about M3Link, just check out the ticker on the bottom. You're welcome to join us for any one of our virtual events as our free guest. Thank you all for joining us today. This has been M3 Live with my special guest, Trevor Eisenman. You guys have a great day. Thanks, Trevor.
You bet. My pleasure.